Welcome back to the chaos. We finally got a piece of well casing, and I put it on a piece of, 3/8 plate to make us an anvil stand. He had a 55-pound Harbor Freight anvil. It's okay. I cleaned it up. I just spot welded it to this plate to hold it in place. I started polishing the top of this thing, and of course it's just cast iron, and we knew this going into it. And I polished it, and I hit it a couple of times with one of their hammers that we got for forging, and it started denting the top of it. So I said, that's not going to work. I don't have any armor plate, which is what most people use to put on top of it, and instead I had a worn out snowplow blade, and it's pretty decent steel. I took and cut it out the length that I needed and brought it over here on the milling machine. I'm sorry I didn't get you any video of it, but I stood it up on edge in there and machined this edge down. That was a hole from pre-existing. I didn't quite machine it out, but it's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to tack weld this piece to the top. Then the square for the hardy hole is a 1-inch square. I marked where it went and then machined it out with the end mill there. I got going hog wild and totally forgot to turn the camera on. I'm sorry. I should have showed you some of the machine work and stuff, but I've got this in a couple of thousandths of 1 inch either direction. And now I'm going to clean the oil off of it and put this puppy on here and line up the cutting shelf and the edges, and of course the hardy hole here. And then I don't think I'm going to weld this thing on there real solid, because at some point we may have to change it again, but I'm going to weld it on there good enough where it won't bounce, where it won't come off. And of course then I got to dress these edges down, and I'm going to do one of them a little bit rounder than the other, and then we'll have to make us up some tools to go in the hardy hole. Here's the forge. Got it finished up yesterday. Got everything hooked up to it. I've got the blower assembly that I'm going to use. This actually came off an old water heater, and it was pushing too much air, so I made up this damper assembly to go over the intake, which will cut down the amount of airflow that goes in it. It goes into the side of this T-pipe right here, and then I've got a dump for the clinkers and everything else, and I got it spring-loaded, so I can take my foot and lift that up. And of course here's the fire pot. Got this piece here. Thought about welding this in place. It's a piece of cast iron barbecue grate. But then I thought, well, if I have to get that out of there to clean it or do whatever, and it's really not going to go anywhere. It's pretty well held captive down in there. But we were going to try and get the anvil stuff done and light this thing up today. But the weather just doesn't seem to be cooperating. A few minutes ago it was raining pretty good. Looks like it's kind of slowed down a little bit now. Of course, we're going to have to do this outside. I don't want to get asphyxiated with the coal. A lot of people like using propane. We've not gotten that far yet. My wife and my uncle went over to Anvil and got us 1,000 pounds of coal. So we're going to start out that way and try to learn that first. And then we may end up going over to propane eventually. But I wanted to learn it the way all the other blacksmiths and bladesmiths have done it with the coal. And I figured for that way we learn the hard way first. Then later, if we want to convert to propane, we can. There's the top of the barbecue grill that came off of the cart that I put that on. I may try and take the lid off of this and see if I can reuse it for a cover on top of the forge itself to keep the water and stuff out of there. I just sprayed it with some black barbecue paint to cover the metal up so it wouldn't rust. I didn't paint the fire pot because I know it's just going to burn it off, but all the other stuff I did. The thing's not really welded in place. I've just got a couple of machine screws with nuts underneath the deck. The fire pot and the shelf are welded together. The corral around the outside edge isn't welded to it. So if I had to, I could take this piece out and work on either piece, or even take the blower motor off. It's just bolted in with a 5/16 bolt right there where I tapped and threaded the side of that. And then we've got this lid off of the barbecue section, the little burner over here, and that'll be kind of like what we catch our ash and our clinkers and stuff in. So we're almost to the point of firing this thing up. I've still got to get this thing centered up, wipe the machine oil off of it, the cutting oil, get everything square, and get this puppy welded down on there pretty good. Had quite a bit of fun getting this pipe cut. I got it welded to the plate that I put the anvil on, and then come to find out our cut wasn't square, so it wasn't setting level. And of course my garage floor isn't level either, so we had to level the plate, then set this piece on there with the level on the top, and then level everything until the top of this plate was level with the bottom, or parallel. So now the post is sitting kind of sideways a little bit, but as long as the top and the base are level and the anvil's level, we're in good shape. So, sorry for the lack of videos lately. It's been really busy here trying to get all this stuff put together. I should have got you more video of me cutting, grinding, welding, all that stuff, but to be truthful with you, it's hot. It's nasty in here. I got, dust all over me. You know how it is when you run those grinding wheels. That stuff gets everywhere. But I'll try to get this all put together. And hopefully the next video you see from me will be he and I actually trying to take some perfectly good metal and turn it into some scrap metal, putting it on the forge and beating on it. So y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next one. See you. Hey everybody. Oh man, it never stops, does it? My kid was going to work the other day in this little Honda that we got her after she totaled the Jeep. Some guy didn't have any brake lights, so of course she hits him in the rear end. Then today she tells me the car starts overheating, so I get to looking and the radiator's cracked. But does anybody see anything wrong with this picture? The front cross member here, the bumper, whatever you want to call it, is pushed back. It is actually curved the AC condenser. I don't think that it's leaking yet. And then the radiator sits behind that. So I am probably, since this has already got a split in it and a big cut, and of course they weld the things on here so you can't, well, let me take that back. Actually, there is a couple of bolts under here. I may be able to unbolt this thing, heat it up, and straighten it and put it back on there. Oh man, simple. 45-minute job to replace the radiator turns into several hours. I got all the clips and stuff loose on the front fascia here. It's hooched. Big square hole right there where she hit the trailer hitch, or the receiver for the hitch. Well, I guess I'll just start taking stuff off till I get down to where it's at. I'll bring you back when I got something else to show you. I don't know if I pull that thing off there and straighten it, if I can actually get it back on there or not. I thought about it first, cutting a notch in it, straightening it, welding it back. Because, I mean, it's, the structural integrity of it's gone. I can order her another one, but I've got to get her vehicle running because she's got to have it to go to work tomorrow. I tell you, it just never stops, does it? We had been working on the, sorry for the shaky cam there, on the coal forge. We'd actually been making a few knives and stuff, and I got the idea that I wanted to make a tomahawk out of a wrench, so I'm getting there. Still got to draw this edge out top to bottom to make a decent cutting edge out of it. Man, I tell you what, that's a lot of heating and hammering and heating and hammering, but it ain't turned out too bad. We've been working on our knives that we made. He's about got his finished. We're doing a hidden tang on his. This is a piece of spalted maple and a brass guard. We got everything fitted up pretty well. Once we get it all epoxied, he can finish shaping the hand guard. Well, I'm going to hop off here and change batteries, and I'll bring you guys back shortly.